The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Good evening and welcome to The Divine Truth on Revolution Radio. It's a lovely Sunday evening. We should have our guest on this evening, Robin Annen. Are you there, Robin?
Hi. Hello.
I'm just trying
Can
to
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm just trying to get Sarah back on. We were just speaking to Sarah, but I can't seem to get her back on at the moment. Just so it's ringing, I think, but I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll just introduce Robin. Robin is how would I describe you? A psychic intuitive sound journeyman?
I very much that, but I'm much more than that. I'm kind of I don't know how to describe it. Intuitive empath, musical healer, sound journeyman. So I'd say sound journeyman, musical, a modern day poet. I don't know. You can call me anything you want. Are we on still?
Yeah, we're on air now.
It's really hard to be such a multi-dimensional being and then have to single down to one particular title because there's so many things going on. I can stand behind many projects. The latest one, of course, is sound journeys into how it affects the physical, the spiritual, the chi, the energy around you, your healing. I got aligned with sound journeying recently with the gongs and bowls because of meditation, because of the desire to heal post-traumatic stress disorder and allow that to help others be healed by this sound. So, call them the sounds of the universe. And it's a beautiful creation each time. Never the same each time either.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still having some problems getting Sarah on. Not too sure what the best way to do this would be.
I'm trusting you about this. Yeah. It's a great day today. A lot of beautiful information has been coming and going, and I've been getting spoken to by angelic realms, and intuition is strong. But I do know that the true source of all things is love energy. It's just so important to be able to encapsulate the love energy,
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about your background? Hello, everyone, and I'm back now with Robin, hopefully, but we're having some problems with getting Sarah on. So, hi, Robin, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're going to continue the show without Sarah because we can't get her on Skype due to technical problems. But I'm not too sure what's happened there. But we've been having technical problems all the time on the show. So
I think it might be the Skype thing. Do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. But we can continue the show anyway. I know Sarah really wanted to talk to you tonight because she knows you a lot better than I do, and she knows about your work, and she knows a lot more about you than I do. But we can start wherever you want, Robin. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, Taj, thank you very much, first of all. It's very important. Everyone wants to tell the world their whole story, what led them to do what they did and what experiences they had, which connect them with the divine. this is my opinion, is that we come in here divine, and we're done. Some of us are immediately addressed by things that are not pleasant. And I did in the crib. I was addressed by something not pleasant, and it went for my throat. Now, that took me through a long journey because of that one thing that I was conscious and aware of as a baby. Something was bothering my throat. So as my journey goes on, I am third oldest of 8, those divine numbers, of course. 3 is represents a divinity. It represents the pyramid. It represents everything that points upward. And of course, the base of the pyramid is quite a solid thing, you know. And so 8, of course, being the galactic number of continuation, right? At least that's what I've come to understand of it. Every one of my brothers and sisters are incredibly divine beings, but they came into a family that's purely yin-yang, sweet, loving mother, and a distorted father. What an interesting beginning to have a distorted father, a distorted masculine to raise you. And boy, he did a interesting experience. So he was corrupted morally and in a lot of ways, and we had to fight our way through that jungle with that kind of thinking and craziness. And it starts you on this crazy journey where you don't believe in yourself anymore because you're too busy battling. So you go out on this journey to go discover yourself. And some of these things that you deal with as a child under the tutelage of someone who's supposed to love you, but they don't love you. This is similar to what Sarah kind of went through too when she's talking to me from her heart. And that is that some of the parents that bring us up, we're divine beings. We're here to love this planet, to love each other, to raise the vibration to a love vibration of acceptance, of prayer, meditation, to encourage each other into this nucleus of people that give a damn. You know, they care about what's going on around us. I learned on my journey that there are divine angels that protect us without a doubt, and that we definitely are protected and guided in times when we lose our way.
Yeah. Experiences with.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
And we're divided and guided, and even when we are, especially when you're foreordained, like we're starting to come here, we're foreordained to do something. You're definitely going to have protection. You're going to have angelic protection to do that. You will run interference. There'll be things running interference on you because of who you are and what you need to do. And these times, right now, one of the things that I learned over the course of my events, dealing with physically with angels and reptilians and other spirits, I've dealt with many. I'm October 27th, so I'm in that time of yin yang, you know, Scorpio, one foot on the earth, one hand in heaven. I do choose the light and love light, so no problem there. But on the course of this understanding who I am, I've had some really interesting experiences. I'd be happy to share them with you. It's hard to have such a complicated life and go chronological with it. That's the normal story we tell, right?
So was there like an event that's, I guess,
oh my God, I can't even, I don't know. Well, you know, when you're raised in an environment where you're not treated the best you can, you're held back and you're suffocated in energy, and you have to burst out of this to find your true soul. And in many cases, it takes many years. And you'll go through a lot of self-denial and a lot of misrepresentation of your own soul to deal with people and learn how to figure things out. Divine Spirit will give you, should you stay connected with a higher source, will give you the guidance you need to find this information. And if there's one thing I learned, Taj, it's ask the big questions and then shut up long enough. Go way deep into meditation. Find your joy. center. Go deep into meditation, ask the questions, and you will be given answers if your desire is strong enough, because the ethos carries our karmic information and our past lives, and also what is around us, in the form of energies, and whether something is going to be uplifting to you and healing, or whether it might be a challenge, something you have to push against. Do you hear what I'm saying? So there were some occasions that were completely bizarre, and some that were completely divine. And I will first tell you that I'd rather focus on the divine experiences, because I feel like I'm here to help people to pray and to meditate and to journey into their soul and to be comfortable doing that. This is what we're supposed to be doing, taking care of this temple and journeying in, not gauging ourselves so much by what other people think or say. These are all programs, A lot of people are programmed. And they're not in their higher mind, and they're not in the love mind, the hope, the healing realms that are so prevalent within the Godhead, the spirit, the connecting spirit to your divine. Am I making sense? I'm my experience. One of my experiences, too, I've had several, but I will tell you a couple that are really neat. One of them just didn't seem like it was possible, and yet it is possible. I believe in metaphysics. I believe in the angelic beings. I believe in guardian angels highly, very much, so much so I've been able to almost see them and communicate with them for others. You can see others' auric fields and such. So what happened to me was 2 weeks before a great big wedding ceremony. My ex-husband, who is now my ex because he chose to be dark and root chakra-like instead of ascending, he stayed there in the realms of drinking and such. So I left him there.
Yeah.
And I'm on a journey. And I'm good for it. I'm extremely good for it. But what happened was he was pulling a little boat in the backyard, and it had been raining. So the tire got stuck. But this very heavy motor, I think it was 200-pound motor, was kind of angled inside of the boat. And you know how boats have cleats on the back? They're big metal cleats.
Yeah.
And the motor sets on those cleats. Now we're talking 200 to 300-pound motor. My hand was on a cleat in the back. And he said, push. And I went, push. And this motor flew back, slammed onto my hand. Now the miracle of this is that I didn't feel it. And it didn't break a single teeny tiny little bone. And I was puzzled by this. I sat down on the ground and I wept from the shock. And then I immediately acknowledged angelic intervention. It almost had to be to prevent any breaking bones. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So what do you believe stopped you from breaking your bones?
I believe my guardian angel threw his hand up in there between us, taking the brunt of the weight. Because for angels, it isn't the same thing for us in the third dimension. For them, they can just lift it off you. But for me to know the experience of contact with an angelic hand, that's a wonderful thing to feel and learn. And we need to be closer in our days. We need to be closer to the light angels, to the love. Again, I'm back at love because of all the torture I've suffered. I suffered a lot of torture, and I won't go into a lot of details. I don't think that's necessary to know when a soul has suffered. But it is very... Oh, Sarah's coming on.
Just trying to call her, but I'm not sure if it's going to work, so we'll just see if it works or not.
When you suffer, you get through that. You start to realize what's important and what's not,
Hi, Sarah, is that you?
Yes, hello.
Hi. Sorry, I've had to call you on your mobile to get you on air.
Yes, I know. We've been trying for a while now.
Okay.
I'm happy this works.
Yeah, Robin's just talking about her experiences. So just carry on, Robin. Go ahead, Robin.
Oh, thank you, Tosh. I appreciate that. I was kind of rounding up my soul journey, how I could go into great depth about my upbringing and the abuse. I just know that I was put in shock at an early age, and I had to break through this shock trauma, and it took a long time before I could really recognize the divine blessings that were happening in my life. The real truths had to be cleared away. One of them was being raised in a yin-yang environment by a father that had a possession and a mother that was just Mother Earth, Taurus, Mother Earth. Beautiful, beautiful mother. She brought in 8 dynamic, intelligent, creative beings and very nurturing, whereas the other side was not. It was destructive. And so I'm not going to go deep into that other than to say I have now forgiven my father for his behavior. He's in the hands of the Almighty. He let him go. My walk has changed since forgiving him. I'm so amazed by it.
And you know, I remember the first time that we met. We were at a very lovely get together, and you popped up beside me. We were all sitting out. You know, it was a beautiful, I think it was a full moon, and there was a full moon party, and I had been invited, and I was sitting sort of in my corner, like in the hot tub, and you just popped up beside me, and you have this fiery red hair, and you look so elven, and I recognized you from, you know, I felt a soul kinship to you, and like I've known you in past lives, and I can see the glow off of your face. You glow, and you have the most amazing smile. And this goes to show that you have, you know, despite all you have suffered, and we talked about this, you have been through a lot in life. You have surpassed that using spiritual healing, you know, and using foods. You really, really are an amazing person.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I have been ascending very fast, and I'm okay with it. I've been staying grounded because it's all about healing and bringing people into the heart space, to the faith space, to connection with divine. So when all is said and done, no matter what experiences I've had, it's all about that. And I'm happy to be the conduit for these messages at this time. And no, it is not without, you know, when you have one, well, also I attract a lot of attention in both many dimensions. And because you attract a lot of attention, because like today, I had to watch and guard myself for 2 days now. Because when you start to testify these truths onto a dark program system, you are exposing and you are cracking the sound barriers with it. It no longer holds a power. Your words are so powerful. I was given a beautiful organite, Sarah, and it is filled with true crystals. And it's just beautiful. And it's got the jasper and the carnelian. It's got peridot. Oh my God, aquamarine, amethyst. The thing was beautiful. And I'm sitting here with it because I need it. And there's this love power. I just want to tell both you and Taj that I'm honored to be called your friend. And I know that we're on the same page in our ministries. We are here to speak, and therefore we're blessed to do so. And we have much, 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 much support in the spiritual world. In spite of what wants to touch us, it cannot. It cannot. And, you know, because
I agree with that. I was pondering this last night because, you know, we've been through a lot, even Taj, and we surpassed it. And then earlier today, I was watching a show, and it said we overcome everything, you know, because of love. And that really hit me. And it's quite true. I do feel that love we have from the divine and love we have in friendships, that really will help us surpass anything and rise above anything.
Oh my God, it's so sweet. The love I feel for you is so sweet. It's beyond words. It's kind of mother kind of love. It's very special to carry this kind of a torch in the world and yet protect that love, because there's a source for it. We are to love everyone, but sometimes our loving everyone means we have to accept things that are unacceptable. And I have trouble with that. I have fire in my bones. Some things are just not acceptable, and I speak up against things that are not. Because I've had experiences with negative energies and entities, I will say, more than one, many. Some profound, some more profound than others. Huge wake-up call. Because I was always taught you're just a child. You don't have no right to speak, or you're just nothing. The world tells you this. Yeah, that's the massive lie. We're not just nothing. We come in here with knowledge and power and the heart of creation. So
and they want us to forget this. And last night I wrote posts about this. And they try every angle, whether you like the TV and there's just horrible news around the world. It's everywhere of how they're trying to make us feel powerless. And just this programming they're trying to push on us of making us feel powerless should make us fight that more, should make us go after our power, and should make us realize, hey, if they're trying so hard to make us feel powerless, they must be absolutely worried that we do discover our inner power. And when we do, and when humanity does as a whole, it will surpass all of this. And it has the solutions for everything in its soul. It's funny because the word solution has S-O-L in it, and it also has the word soul in it. It has soul, solar. You have sole, solar, sun. So you have the whole Christ consciousness going on there. And you also have soul, which I believe our souls are a piece of light energy or Christ consciousness, and many people have forgotten their souls. So solutions to all of the world's problems will be found when they go within their souls. And when they find that inner power, we will rise above everything.
Yeah.
Amen.
I agree
Amen.
with Sarah on that. I mean, I know me and Sarah have been through a lot in the last year, and I used to always, focus on a lot of negative things. And I think Sarah's taught me a lot. It's not to let that affect me, because I see a lot of negative stuff on, Facebook and YouTube and the news, and the amount of stuff that's going on in the world. It's very difficult for people to focus, and on because there's so much fear-based stuff out there at the moment. How do you guys sort of avoid that? How do you avoid the negativity? Concentrate on the positive things, the good things.
Go ahead, Robin. I will answer this second after you.
I don't watch TV, man. I watch Netflix on occasion. I don't watch TV at all anymore. That was one of my new commitments within the last year. And I've been since then I've been able to write a lot of songs and make music, which lines up with, keeping the peace of mind. Also, not you have to realize the source of all this. We know the source of all this. And I'm constantly confronted by the archons. They're always, they try to bother me regularly with all this data searching and corruption of passwords and things like that, And I see it for what it is. So are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
This program. And so I immediately put up my spiritual guard. You can use your hands. One of my existences in my past, I did mudra dancing. And I remember it very well. And it blends in very well with another experience I had with the soul being a black person. I was, in fact, a black man. And I was hung, which ties into the neck. But that was my first Akashic experience. Just imagine how many years it took me of clearing and reprogramming and believing in myself before I could even have that first Akashic journey. Imagine the clearing away. That's like giving birth on a regular basis. That's not easy. You have to want to know. You have to want to know. And you will be shown if you can go inside and stop thinking for a minute and go in and trust. Ask the big questions. You will see. Yeah. I just tuned it out, dude.
And it's good tuning it out. I do that a lot. I don't watch mainstream news. Again, I have a news feed with thousands and thousands of followers, so they do share news. I think it hits social media a lot of times before it probably even hits news nowadays. What I do in the end, I remind myself, if I was in the middle of the desert and all alone, I have God still, and that's what counts. I have the divine, and that's what counts. And that was really, really, it's empowering, and it calms me, and it helps me remember that I can rise above everything. Just simple things too, like, having a cup of tea and clearing my mind and meditation. Those things really help me to clear out stuff. Yes. It's really to each person of what works, because meditation might work for me, but it might not work for another person. Maybe them dancing might work, so it's really finding what clears out all that insanity and where you can just become one with yourself and find your inner peace. And inner peace to me is worth more than anything. You can't buy inner peace. It's worth more than money. It's absolutely an amazing tool, and it's empowering. I want to proceed by saying it's really interesting you had that, you remember who you were in a past life. And I had this whole sort of a vision and epiphany happen about how many people were Holocaust victims and were slaves who were, African-American slaves that had incarnated into, bodies, and they still have that trauma. And then I did some research on the Holocaust victims and found out that there were programs run because people had remembered they had PTSD from their past lives when they were Holocaust victims. So I did some research and found that out after I had that whole vision, and this was some years back. And in the end, people are very quite racist, and people just pick on each other, and everybody just is at war with each other because they're at war within themselves. And recently, I stumbled across this beautiful video I shared on my Facebook. And when, now they have genetic testing where they can test your ancestry. And they were testing people who were German, people who were Icelandic, people who were African American, people who were Arabic. And you know what? All these people in the end had all mixed genetics. Even the ones that were racist had genetics from people they were racist to. So think about how humanity in the end is all connected, no matter what color or what race. And I think it's the archonic infiltration that is making everybody fight among each other. Yeah. But I also think that humanity needs to take responsibility, because humanity has divine DNA. Their DNA is sort of an antenna, and it can be lit up. And in the end, they're in an abusive relationship. The only reason that we have dark forces that are messing with humanity is because humanity is letting them do it. Once they get out of that abusive relationship with each other, and it is abusive relationship with each other, these forces are feeding off of humanity, but humanity is okay with having them because, humanity needs them as rulers because they don't think they're good enough. So it's both are being very abusive to each other. It is like a very bad relationship. And when humanity decides to step out of this relationship and find their universal power, they will overcome that. And I do believe that a lot of this is finding inner peace. And I believe that entities cannot mess with you if you find true inner peace and connection to the divine. They can throw a lot in your life, but you will always rise above it.
Absolutely. You said it in a nutshell. And it really is a special thing to be connected. I had a minister's wife, a Cherokee. He was a Cherokee Christian minister who baptized. I'm going to tell you about this experience, believe it or not. Baptized myself in a little bitty Christian church out here on the outskirts of Dallas. And that day my son had been doing a lot of things and been visiting other people and kind of, being distracted from his faith, but he's called as well. And the day that I decided to go ahead and get immersed again, I chose this minister because there's some connection there. And even though it's the Christian format, which is very important, I was looking at it from a more spiritual perspective, not as more of a, I must do this. I did it because I wanted to. I was ready in a divine place to receive that love from the Christ, what he did. And so, and this was my second baptism, but the one I chose, this one I really chose, like a cleansing. I'm ready to change this now, physically, like a blessing on your body. I'm done with this. I'm washing away all this crap. I'm going to start over again. And I did that. And when I went to go get baptized, this minister is divine. Oh, Sarah, you would love him. You would have loved him so much, Dr. Charles Herndon. When he dipped me in the water, I knew something special was going down. And I lifted up, and we're all rejoicing. And I went to change clothes. And while I'm pulling off this sopping wet white robe, my son, who sat on the right side of the church, just like maybe 20 pews, and he's in the middle by himself, apparently the beam of righteousness came on to him like a light. And saints will experience this light often. That's what we're seeking, is that love light from the truth, from the divine. And it comes onto you and it beams on you. And while I was dressing, my girlfriend comes in and says, Robin, hurry up, get dressed. I said, why? Stunned that anything new was happening. She goes, your son, Jeff, is getting baptized right now. He had received the call while he was in a boys' prison place, a confinement place, but he was separated from me. That's a whole new long story in itself, but divine love brought us back into union to work together. And he was getting baptized. So there was a double blessing on that day, a double blessing. And it kind of sealed his connection to his mom, why he chose to come through me. His birthday is 1974. So I see him as a great warrior, but he doesn't know how to really fight this battle. You know what I mean? Oh, something weird's going on with me. Send me some good energy.
I will definitely do that. There's always interference with these shows. That's why we definitely try to chill because of them. Yeah.
It was really cold a few minutes ago, really cold, like shivery cold. And then it just got on my neck, so I'm not happy about that. But I'm aware of it, and that's the main thing, the idea of being conscious. So I went through many events with dark and light entities. I think the most divine experience I can remember, usually the angels will come in to save you because you're meant to be, you're a divine calling, you're meant to be here to raise the vibration, the real vibration. This is why we connect, because authentic love knows itself. It knows itself. This nurturing in the spiritual realms to help people to carry on while they're being lied to and decepted and hitting these walls all the time, right? This is where we come in, some of us, to tell the truth, to experience these things and say, listen, there's hope. I'm living proof of it. There's hope, And I'm living proof I should have died. I broke my back. I've had neck surgery. I got to tell you this one experience, Sarah. This is the most divine thing I could share with you. Okay. I went through hell as a child because of my experience and being a sensitive, not being able to settle down right, because you're the child after all, right? So in the course of that, as I got older, it took me a long time. People do this, they carry on these vibrations until they're just shed of it, the lies and and then they start filling themselves up with more proper knowledge, more spiritual. You have to listen to better music. You have to read better. You have to get yourself into better company. Number one, those are the first things after taking care of your body. Healthy things are very crucial. So I had this experience where I somehow ended up in the 80s or late 80s. And I'm in Illinois with my family. And I wasn't doing really good at the time. And I went to a party, and someone handed me this envelope and said, tear this up into pieces and hand it around. Well, apparently it had blotter acid on it. So what happened was, now this is leading you to my main angel, so you know, this is the moral of the story. I took a bite, and I lost myself for a whole week. My visual went out. I didn't know where I was. And during that time, I was in like what you consider like a gray area. I could see flashes of light, like lightning around me. Lightning, flashes of light. So I wasn't shown that clearly until 2 days ago when I was meditating with you in mind. And this radio show, I said, now I need to know, angels, I need you to show me what that was. Where was I? Because I'm reading the hidden mysteries of Enoch right now. So I don't mind going to places like this, you know, research, go to other dimensions, find out what it means. What that was when I OD'd, my angel grabbed me. My archangel Sandalphon grabbed me, held me all week long. And when I came out of that, I was like it never happened. How could, you know, like it never happened. In safekeeping, never underestimate the power of archangels, I tell you. Another time that happened to me was when I was despondent, very, very despondent. And I took a bunch of Zolofts to OD. Obviously, that kind of level is very low. But it happens with some of the genius beings because we can't fit into this.
I agree with some of the most brilliant people have been very suicidal or tried to attempt to commit suicide. This is something that I've noticed. And they've always been brought back and not allowed, a lot of them too. You know, so there is something that is very divine about that. We do have angels all the time guarding us. And I can say that there are many times I've nearly died in life and angels have came to me and brought me back.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you. That's good news. I love to hear that. And see, it just seems to me like, you know, we have these languages that we start to replace as we get more into helping one another. There are certain languages, love languages, behavior languages, communication, forms of communication that start to open up to you that you might not have heard before because you were too stuck in their patterns. You know what I'm talking about, right? All the entities that are around you trying to confuse and confound you and keep you grounded in junk. Like, what's the weatherman going to say? Now, if I see a newspaper, I don't care. I'm thinking, I need to paint a wall. You know.
There you go. That's amazing. That's great.
Make it beautiful. Let's do something constructive with this energy. So, Sarah, we are co-creators with the divine. And we are here, and we are very, very protected. Those of you who are not protected, be careful for your free will, because your free will is what will save you or ruin you. It's as simple as that. You got to watch what you speak to yourself, how much you deeply love yourself, because when you love yourself, you're in the kingdom of God. You're in that place that Christ spoke of, in the chakra system. Actually, to me, is the kingdom of God within the body. Really. I used to think it was a place. I know there is a place in the realms. I know there's seventh and further heavens. I know there's a divine there waiting for us. Because Christ said, I go to a place to prepare a place for you. If it were not so, I wouldn't say so. For a person who spoke in parables, this was very clear. So it struck me as, oh my gosh, these things that we do.
Me too. You know, it seems like the whole chakra system you have the ability to use it to go to the higher realms if you do good in life and if you take care of yourself and if you truly connect to yourself. But it can be used to go to the lower realms, you know. So it's interesting of people who are very toxic, and they're toxic emotionally, they're toxic to themselves and to others. How a lot of people like that will have nightmares, and I feel they're being drawn to lower realms or lower energies at night, and it's through their chakra system. But if they cleared that, and if they clean themselves out, and I've seen this happen, they will start to have just dreams of heavenly places or amazingly magical dreams. So I do believe that the chakra system of the body brings you either higher or lower depending on how you're using it. And you don't even have to be aware, honestly. When it comes to people who are very negative and toxic, they're really stunned that they're having nightmares all the time. And they're not even, you know, a lot of them don't even know the chakra system works, but it is working despite their acknowledgement or understanding of it or not. Even if they're not even aware they have a chakra system, it's still working. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and sometimes it's overworking. I remember walking with a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and I won't use her name because she knows me and loves me, but we were walking in to go see The Theory of Everything. And as we were walking in, I'd noticed she'd been having a very active sex life, overactive, but she had a lot of questions up here. So the Holy Spirit said to me, tell her. So I said, baby, and I touched her on her belly button area, and I said, babe, you're overworking this root chakra. You're giving it way too much attention, and you're shaking the ground you walk on. And you need to stop for a while. Sometimes you need to stop that, so much of that, and get ethereal. Let that energy rise up past your heart, rise up past your vocal point, rise up to your third eye, rise up. Create a beautiful violet flame meditation. Go there. And boy, it shifted her whole perspective. Her whole life has changed. Just a simple message. So really, Sarah, what my angels have been guiding me to do is channel, speak the truth, do it with compassion and love and mercy for all the shit I've been through. Different lives, different deaths. Trust me, I've had a couple past lives, one as a monk and one as a priestess. And boy, was I ever. I'm sure you're familiar with my energy. And so serving in the older times, the olden times like Persia and Egypt, right? Different things happen for different reasons, but they all lead to the ascension above the Merkaba, above. It all leads to that place where you can ground it and then lift it. So my thing is, after all, I could tell you about my reptilian things and everything that shocked me into reality. And yes, they are true. And a lot of people get laid on by spirits and dark entities like I did. What their purpose is. People are calling it night terrors. And indeed it is. You have got to have a strong will. You have to focus your will. You have to focus it. If you're going through this process and you don't know how to break out of addictions and you don't know how to break away from patterns and thinking patterns, stop the buses. Go down into your realms. Get some positive input. I read Being in the Now by Eckhart Tolle when I meditated in the bathtub. Brought me around to right here and now. So all of this stuff, you have to have a strong will when these things happen to you. You will be very alert because of your will to stay in the divine, encompassed by the divine. Be part of the divine. You are part of the solution, not part of the problem. I'm telling people, stop being part of the problem. Get, and this is from a girl that's, I'm very open. I don't have any problems with divisions like sex or anything like that. I just talk about it. It is what it is. But as human beings, nurture yourself, go in, nurture others, and be strong when those things confront you. You already have your boundaries up. Like Abraham Hicks was saying the other day, I was watching that. Sometimes I pop into that because I need to. And I'm listening to it and I'm hearing him say, okay, you empaths, you're going to go into these parties and you're going to have all these emotions. And you're going to feel everybody's stuff because you have this spiritual quality about you, this gift, divine gift, actually. You've got to prepare yourself before you go in. Don't just go in and let people's stuff bounce off you. Prepare yourself before you go in. I thought, what a great message. For the gift of empathy. This is a great message. I'm just real, babe. I'm just real who I am. And yes, I think free will is very important. And I think having meditations and mantras are very important. I think the body needs to be in alignment with the spirit. Therefore, you feed it and nurture it to be in alignment so that you can hold and contain the new information. As a human being, we bring in information, and we're trying to go through all that to find out what we're supposed to do right now.
I agree with that. The thing is what I find interesting, I don't know if you've ever seen the dark crystal and how they're just decrepit. They look like decrepit beings, the ones that are just ruling out evil upon others in that movie. It's a very encoded movie. And if I remembered right, it's Jim Henson that made it. Hopefully I'm not getting this wrong. Anyhow, I was just thinking about the elite of this world, how they're older men. A lot of them are older men who are very unhealthy. And just, I could tell they have all these different health issues, as in, a lot of them are not functioning on a cellular level where they're accessing higher energies because their body is just, they're really quite not well. And I was thinking, well, isn't that interesting? No wonder they're bringing in lower energies. No wonder they're acting out of greed and other stuff, because their bodies, their machines on Earth they're not having them plugged into higher consciousness. They're full of candida. They're eating diets that are full of, just absolutely gross diets. It doesn't matter, how wealthy they are. A lot of people just don't know how to eat to stream in higher energies. And I do believe that in the future, it's going to be shown, to humanity that food and energy are hand in hand. Whatever you eat, you're putting in this energy. You're weaving this energy into this soul weave. Your energy, your soul energy, which is a weave of energy. So you're putting new strands or new links, new energy into your soul. So you have these people and their bodies, their genetics are really bad because of their eating problems, because of them not facing themselves, and they're just decrepit in a way. You look at the Pope, and these are world leaders. These are religious leaders. And you can tell they're not accessing anything higher. So you think about it. Yes, the body is a vehicle, and it's a vehicle for the energy streaming into this world. And we're either going to stream in higher energy or lower energy.
Thank you. I don't think there's anywhere in between that either, is there? You have to choose.
I do myself believe that there are all spectrums, but I believe that people who are our world leaders, when I say, I do think this, I think that, people who are world leaders, they have much more pressure than a commoner, than a person who doesn't have that. Why? Because darker forces will go after them simply because of their status, and they can use them to control multitudes of people. So it would be, we must have world leaders that are super healthy and connected. That would be an amazing thing for the world.
Okay, guys, so we're going to go to the commercial break now. So you guys can mute your microphones. We'll be back in a
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
And welcome back to The Divine Truth on Revolution Radio. Before we continue with the show, just like to remind you that Revolution Radio is a listener-supported station, so we do rely on your donations to keep us on air. If you would like to make a donation, please go to the website, freedomslips.com, go to the Support Us section where you can make a one-off donation. You can also join our monthly support club where you can make a regular monthly donation starting at only $10, or you can buy one of our seed packs. All of our seed packs contain non-GMO, non-hybrid heirloom seeds and start at only $60. You can also access the Revolution Radio archive for only $5, where you can download not just our show, but all of the other host shows as well. So now we'll continue with the show. Hopefully we still have Robin and Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, Robin. Sarah, you still there? Sarah, are you still there? Oh.
I'm back, Angel.
I think Sarah's gone off. She's
She's really an angel.
She's still online, but maybe she's gone off.
Well,
a quick break. But
could be. Bless her heart.
I don't know what you want to carry on talking about in the second hour. I did want to ask you about some protection techniques that you use. So I know a lot of our listeners may want to know how do they sort of protect themselves from things like entities, from attacks and that type of thing.
My primary advice on that would be it's extremely applicable to me because we're so volatile. We carry energy signatures. Am I on?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we carry these energy signatures really, really all relevant to our chakra centers. It's like a written story. You're walking around with a written story. And we carry energy signatures that can be seen. We don't want to dumb them down, but we need to get them balanced and working so that we can receive and accept on different levels from our energies. We'll wait for Sarah to get on. I'll wait for Sarah.
Right. Yeah, I'm just calling her back. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm happy with it.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I was just asking Robin about protection techniques. So she was just explaining what she uses to how she protects herself from entities and from attacks and that type of thing.
I was saying that all of our energy centers are signatures and codes in the universe, from my perspective, and that what you do is, I do many techniques. First of all, you have to stay conscious and alert and allow yourself to be multidimensional, not so grounded into just what you see and hear. Big mistake. But in order to protect yourself, you have to be praying. You have to have prayers and meditations that do this for you, that cover yourself. Like you have to figure you're a prize. You're a pearl of great prize because you carry all this beautiful love in you. You're like a love pearl, We're like love pearls on this dark, dense mainframe we're in,
Yeah.
I believe that. And so sometimes nasty things will reach in to touch the pearl or try to take it, when in fact it has its own master. But I believe that when I go to bed at night, for one, I have a gong on the end of my bed, so you know. And I named it Sandalphon, after the very angel that has walked with me, protected me, and shown me love through music, shown me how to tap into my joy through music and tones and language. And the sounds that the gong make are clearing. They're like sounds of creation. So I play the gong. I clear the space, and then I say a nice little prayer, and I speak it out loud. And very often, I'll fall asleep with a candle, some kind of a nice light on, and poor Sarah's having trouble connecting with us today.
Yeah, sorry.
I say, you have to have prayers, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my case, there's many things that I do. I guard myself spiritually.
Right.
When she gets on, I'm excited to tell her. I put on a. I'll wait for Sarah. Come on, Sarah. Come on, love. We can't wait to talk to you. She's the most amazing soul.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not...
Oh, sorry about that.
So basically what you do is you have to envision your body as multidimensional for one, but also grounded in the 3D so that you can protect it spiritually. And it, like I said, as you go in, so within, so without, right? So you go inside and you grab the, you go into your chakra centers, you put a protective orb around yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you become very conscious of what's around you without walking in. Cannot be fearful. It doesn't ever work that way. But you have to be strong of will. And it's not invite these kind of things into your life by your behavior and lifestyle. You have to know that there's fact, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been...
Okay. So you stop the things that are attracting them, like lower vibrational foods, lower vibrational thinking, stupid movies, things that are corrupt, deliberately, like things that attract the negative energy. So you stop doing those behaviors and you start lightening up an awful lot. And you can start sensing. So basically I have a selenite wand that I purchased that I use on the bed with me if I feel like I need a piece of selenite under my pillowcase, under my pillow. I use crystals too, Crystals are very, very important. They tap you into certain energies. And I have it on my neck right now, this beautiful rough cut lapis. And I wrapped it the other day just so I could wear it today when we spoke. To be able to tap into the higher realms with the third eye and with the throat chakra. So there are things that I do, Taj. The words.
Yeah, I don't think we can't seem to get Sarah back on, so don't know what's happened there.
I really want to share the pink orb meditation with her. Sharing that with her. Such a beautiful day. Pink, I'm visioning.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach...
So
can't seem to get her back on about that. Sorry about that.
There are different things you can do. I've been making jewelry out of hematite and obsidian and crystals. And anytime you sense a heavier energy around you and you cannot breathe well, or the energy is heavy or strained, like it's not coming easy for you to love on somebody, it's because they're surrounded by some kind of a dark energy. And so what you do is you go inside and you say, you can't touch this. And that builds an inner fortification. This is my opinion now. This builds an inner fortification so that you're strong inside. Whether it's an outside thing or an inside thing, it just strengthens you from the inside. Your commitment mine is to righteousness and love. It's about being fair to my fellow man. It's about being available for them and not sidetracked by stupid things and tactics. You know what I mean? Stupid tactics and energies that would search to prevent you from doing what you're supposed to do, which is usually something very loving and powerful. So I do use crystals. I do sage myself often. I use Palo Santo. I love Palo Santo. Palo Santo and sage. Meditation, you have to you have to get authority over yourself in order to be able to handle any of these energies. You have to have a great self-love too, Taj. Like way down, like I think you're the bomb.com person, you know.
Right.
Look in the mirror and say, you know what? You're not a schmuck after all. You're pretty friggin' awesome. And, you know, start taking better care of yourself. And you walk with this force, this inner force that's going to be good for others. And most recently, I was apprehended by someone in our environment that did wrong. And what this person did, because of their weak, low programming, this is a high-minded person, but they're acting like an animal. You know, we can act like the mammal side of us. We can act like animals towards one another. And this is wrong. It's wrong, 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 wrong. We're supposed to be rejoicing with one another and lifting one another up, not going through this jungle of slashing people. And so someone started slashing with their behavior and tongue, and I called them up on it. You're not going to do this. You can't do this. You're not allowed to do this because you're dividing and conquering. You're not allowed. So there's like a warrior spirit that is instilled within you because of this great divine love of source. I have a warrior spirit in me, but it's not a violent one. It comes out in creative ventures and willingness to go out and love on people or bring them into my realm that they can experience some love in a different way. You know, someone take them through a sound journey, talk to the universe, create something new, or release pressures. I have a place in my bedroom where I lay people down horizontally on my bed and then take them through a small sound journey to reprogram them, to get back to the feeling of creation and earth. And this is what gongs do. They change the whole vibration, the chi of everything. They do the speaking. We do not.
Right.
And one of my greatest joys is that I was led into this realm of sound journeying and how it affects people and helps them to go and center and release. Center and release. And a lot of it has to do with post-traumatic stress being a catalyst to wanting to do this. And maybe I needed to do that, go through that to appreciate this gift, this divine gift that was just handed to me, Taj. I went to a meditation, the right time, the right day, and met the right people. And now one of my dear best friends is teaching me the gong. And a lot of it she does from her heart. And she's just amazing, phenomenal. So I'm getting a lot of lessons and I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it in Robin's realm. That's what I call it. It's Robin's realm. It's a place to heal. It's a place to sing. It's a place to drink herbal teas and coffee. It's a place to talk your heart out. It's just a place where we set this place wherever you are. Wherever you are. That's where your ministry is. That's where you can help people. Wherever you are. It should be with you at all times. Do you know that?
Do you want to talk about maybe some of the experiences you had with entities or reptilians and how you overcame that? How you, how you stopped those entities from engaging with you anymore? Or how did you go about that?
That's so interesting. They come in. Okay. Taj?
Hello? Yeah.
Hi. We had a little interference.
All right.
They can come in by proxy as well in your environment. I've noticed that a couple of the events that I survived, they came in by proxy through someone else who was weaker. And my son was misbehaving at one point, and I don't know if this entity was on him, but whatever it was making him angrier and angrier and angrier all the time. And he couldn't seem to get it out of his system. So one night I was told that I needed to bring him into my room. So I pulled him out of his bedroom, pulled his bed into my tiny space, and I switched mattresses with him. And I bored him to sleep. He was unruly energy. So I bored him to sleep, my sweet son. And I went to go to sleep, and I had tea light candles going in water. There's water in the bottom in case they go out. And they were above my head. And I remember this was right after I was getting off cocaine. So this has a tie-in to addictions and dark energies. And the releasing of the powers from the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, and releasing them. This is one of the areas they get you if you're still there. But this one, somehow by proxy, ended up jumping on me, and it was a reptilian that had, I was in a spiritual mind you. So I was on my path to wellness. But it was a struggle. It's like, you're not going to do this. I'm going to keep you back. And this thing was laying on me, but I didn't see its face. I only saw its claw-like on my hand, holding my hand flat down. And so I knew I could see that in my mind's eye. I could see its colors, on me and such. It was pissing me off, actually, Taj. It pissed me off. I'm like, get off me. So I must have been shaking the bed because the woman that I lived with turned on the light. It was something like 2:30 in the morning. She turned on the light, and this thing jumped off of me, and it seemed like this gray matter jumped off me, hit the floor, and ran away. When in fact, it jumped off of me, hit the ceiling, and shot out into another dimension. I'm sure fourth dimension. That energy is not so good. So we talked it out. We discussed what it is. We discussed it's called blanketing. And it's all about energy. It's all about preventing you from reaching your higher chakras and your higher understandings. So now what I do is I just build this inner barrier inside. And I ground with prayer and meditation. Doesn't matter where I'm at. Stop and breathe. Pull in that power and pull it up and be able to see. You can see the other dimensions. So prayer, meditation, wakeful, lucid consciousness. You can sense their presence, and you protect yourself by just not allowing it in your space. You have to know when you're there in your space. Right. So what I do now is I just get away from it, or I put my hands up in front of me. And I use a lot of gestures with my hands. Of course, the gratitude gestures I learned from being a monk. My experience as a monk was I went up a pyramid on the side of a hill. Every step I had to fill from top to bottom with divine gratitude, even before I could step up another step. And that just led to a primal meditation. So it was quite an interesting experience to know that and how it all ties in. It's not to say that I don't get harassed every once in a while. The other night, something came for my throat. And I was divinely protected, though. So it didn't stay, and it was mindless, whatever that was. So I'm protected, and now sleep with crystals and walk with crystals and have them in my brassiere, by my heart. I say people should protect themselves, should seek inner knowledge. I used to use crosses. I don't think they're necessary anymore, necessarily. I do have some around. It represents, but that's more like a religious representation of what happened with Christ. And I don't like to mock, I don't think we should be in a mocking state. We should be in alignment with love light, with a Christed power. And I think that's very crucial, to be in alignment with that power. Should you make a mistake, even walking in this space, you can still reach out for help. You can still realign yourself. You can still be a contributing factor to the wellness of others who are suffering or are under some kind of bondage. You can, I've been known to help people rid themselves of energies. I think it's done one person at a time. So I'm not using my own energy. I don't like doing that.
Do you do any healing work or that type of thing?
Yes.
I
do it. What I do is I do it through channeling, and I read cards for people, but I mostly channel the love, spirit, and the truth. These divine messages that are based on one individual at a time. And then I bring people into my space and do a gong clearing for them, saging and clearing, encouragement, communication, hugging, of course, If you have good enough energy to come into my place, yeah, you deserve a good gong journey and a saging and a, that's the way I look at it, because this place is divine. My place is specifically guarded and divine. I have rose quartzes all over, and I have it feng shuied out to the hilt. So the energy flows freely in my space, Taj, So when I'm given these beautiful messages to help someone, to bless someone, I'm here. I can do that. But I also want you to know that these things do not happen without a connection to the divine source. You cannot take credit for what it's telling you. The minute you do that, you become a Nebuchadnezzar, and you either get cast out from the inner realms where you're getting special knowledge and blessings, or you just go dark and you're not receiving it anymore. You're not the conduit for the healing energy, the words, the love, the acceptance that comes through, the sound, the readings, the inspirations, the synchronicities, the sharing of things that you have, listening to people's hearts. These things are valid. They're very, very, very valid in helping people feel like life is worth living, and they actually get to be heard. So I do many things, hon. I write music and sing, but I bring into this sanctuary a space. I call it holy space. And indeed it is. If you came in here, you'd go, whoa, okay, I get it. But mind you, the holy space is really inside of me. And you, and all of us. It is the center realm where Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. The center realm, the hub source of divine power. Nothing can truly shut you down without your free will. I believe that. Nothing can shut you down or quiet your message. It can try and it can attempt, but obviously being held in the arms of an archangel when you're off in gray space trying to kill yourself is definitely a divine message of salvation. That's when you know you're not supposed to die, when you come back like nothing ever happened. But the downside of trying to kill yourself and having to test the waters is that you may not have a divine connection to your angel at all, being in a dark place. I'm encouraging people to tap in, to take time, to read positive, uplifting literature. Listen to Taj Investigates. This is phenomenal stuff you have on your radio station. Phenomenal. I so am there. I understand what we're trying to do is raise the veil and look underneath and see what's really going on. Yeah. And what we do this one at a time. There are divine things we can do. There are many things I can tell you about my experiences, but I will say that if given a choice, get busy and raise your vibration. But go easy on yourself because it's a learning process. But the sooner you want to be well, the sooner you will be well. And
are there any experiences where you learned something that maybe our listeners will there's something you want our listeners to go away with, that you had an experience that you want to share that maybe people will connect with and understand?
So many. We often hear about spirit guides. Yeah. Right? And I remember a couple I want to share with you. If you look these up, and they are identifiable, in our realm of knowledge, and those who are into the connections and the synchronicities of being a human and being a divine human in a rough time. The animals that come to the human realm are from the earth. They are from Mother. I'm going to call her Mother. She sends them to you for a message. And it's actually a guide. They're guides. Now, this is more in the shamanic realm of things. They're guides. Well, mine just happens to be the cardinal. And they say the cardinal is a male entity and energy from another dimension coming to reach you. This has to be a loving energy. Because if you listen to a cardinal, oh my gosh, it's just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm sitting on my back porch. This is a story, and Jesus spoke in stories, and I'm sure he wanted people to come to their own conclusions, right? That's how I feel about it. I'm sitting there and I'm completely despondent. I'm married to an unfaithful husband. I know there's some things wrong, but I'm trying to serve God. And I'm actually absolutely despondent. I'm sitting on my back porch outside on the steps, crying out to God and crying, weeping for my soul, weeping for my soul. And we do this. This is part of the soul journey, the discovery. So as I was weeping, a beautiful cardinal landed within 6 feet of me on a branch. And I was crying out loud, Taj. I was wailing. Okay? Yeah. This wasn't a whimper. This was wailing for the injustice around. The energy was so bad and mischievous. This bird sang so divine that it took me out of the weeping and the pity party stage of it and took me into it allowed me to breathe into the grandiose divine that is. And the song was so beautiful, Taj. I just felt like I was in the presence of my God right there. That all of that pain had just disappeared like that, just like that. And how quickly we can go back into despondent states and be back into those lower chakra regions stuck again. How quickly we can go back into fear. And we need to stop that. We need to catch ourselves doing that. Call out to the divine. Connect your vibration with the divine so that you feel really seen and heard, and then your angels can work for you. Work with you. You're going in the right direction. They can work with you. You're going in the right direction. Right? Mm. Is that a good message? I'm really trying to make my point that we're not alone and that this is a journey with one another. But there are spirit guides that help us. There are things you need to learn. But learn this one thing, beloved. We're not all the same, but we are sharing this planet. And some are divinely connected with love source. They're ridiculed, they're killed in history, in all of history. It's just part of the program. And when you come to a clarity of understanding, you've dug through some of the old junk and you've cleared away the old thinking patterns, the old belief systems. And believe me, I had some strange ones. With my association with the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses as a child, and then going home and being tortured by my father. Interesting perspective. I washed away all that teaching out of my system. When it's all gone, there's no more animosity. When you don't have animosity, you have freedom of movement. You can accept the emotion without feeling it. And this is what happens with religious training. You just have to wash it out and replace it. And it is an inner journey and it's an outer journey. I mean, we work with each other. But where would we be without the divine inspiration of one another, about being able to help one another through different ministries, different causes, different events. Some of us work on a global level, and some of us work like yourself. And I work one-on-one. I'm just a one-on-one right now, but I'm hoping to expand that and start doing more meditations and, invite people as you are, invite people into the realm to do their meditations. So I'm excited to see how we can help people in this next journey that we're on, getting ready for this new wave. We are the new wave. We are the new wave. We are aligning with this new wave of energy that will clear the earth, that will clear it of all, the earth will be cleared of all vile intentions and all disruptions, all anger, all hate will be gone. And it will only be able to be inhabited, should it be inhabited, by those who know how to keep love alive. Those who have mercy and compassion and understanding, who have humility enough to connect with divine and then share it and go back to source on a regular basis. We're not supposed to be out blasting or tooting our horn all the time unless it's ministry, and then you have to put your ego aside and you have to be, that ego thing. I was telling you earlier, you asked me for something else too. This reminds me of, in my walk as a Christian, I love praying for people because I have a heart for people. I have a heart for wellness and people to have peace of mind and to feel treated fairly, and loved and seen and heard. And so in my praying, I thought, I'll pray for you. Yeah, I'll pray for you. I'll be happy to take you before the throne of grace. After doing that for a little while, I started to feel resistance. And I heard a voice say to me, get out of the way. You cannot conduct this prayer through your ego. Like I said, that was what Nebuchadnezzar was faulted with. This is what the world leaders, this is what grinds them down into these places of greed and lust and power, because they get a touch of the divine and they go dark with it. And we're not supposed to. We're supposed to get out of the way and let this channel through us. Let the love light channel through us to give someone hope, to give them a new perspective. It's beautiful.
What do you think about religions in general? Because a lot of people say that all religions are evil and bad, but I think you can take good things out of each religion. But a lot of people, when they're in their worst times, when they're at their lowest, they turn to religion for answers, and they don't always get them. So what do you say to those people?
Religion. Religion is very archonic to me. It's extremely archonic. It's a program. It's like a program to keep the masses under control and keep them doing what's right. And if you can pitch in lots and lots of money that way, be my guest if you want to. You have to be following good causes, I think. I think religion is just a setup for those who don't want to find their own path. And some do actually need that launching pad. I mean, there will be some who just never really ascend, who never really get past the, our Father, hallowed be thy name. Fine. I believe in grounding to that. I truly don't. I think some people feel they need religion. I believe that your religion should be your mantras, your ability to speak with God without your ego, to the ability to love other people without ego. Religion is organized crime to me. Really, it is organized crime. It takes you and diverts you from the kingdom of heaven. Jesus said something that's really interesting. When he was talking to the scribes and Pharisees, he said, you're whitewashed tombs. Now, he called them a physical manifestation, a tomb, right? Because we're temples. You can either be a temple or you can be a tomb. What are you going to carry in you? Are you going to make yourself divinely able to receive new messages and new energy? Or are you going to stay in that? Are you going to and accept divinity? Or are you going to be base and hiding things and manipulative and non-truths for your own purpose, which is what a lot of the world leaders do to us, I think. So religion may serve its purpose, but it's only a bouncing ground. It's only to give you a grounding to get off. Find your faith. Find your inner faith. You may not have a church for miles and miles. You have to learn how to serve within before you can serve without.
What do you think about like the ego? A lot of people, I guess they find it very difficult because they're so ego-driven, and I think in a lot of ways people always trying to like one-up themselves, and it's all about ego, I'm better than you and I know more than you and I'm all these kind of things. How do you like overcome something like that then? Someone who is, egotistical, I guess, and a bit self-centered.
Oh, trust me, I know about narcissism. I was married to one for 23 years. I was with him. So I know what it did to me. It created narcissism in me too, so I had to get rid of that. I had to go to the 12 steps to get rid of them. And them are religious-based steps from Lois, Bill and Lois from the AA program. Phenomenal. It's a step beyond religion, okay? And so you get guided into more internal realms. They use the format of addiction, right? Okay, it's addictive behavior. It's lower-based behavior.
Yeah.
It's lower, but the truth is that that was a grounding place for me to step off, where you can look at yourself honestly. And yes, you do address your ego, your identity that you come into the world, the stories you tell yourself and tell the world sometimes can be very ego-based. It can have an ulterior motive. I think egos are based on ulterior motives. Like, this is the picture, you get up in front of somebody and go, ta-da, right? But you offer empty promises. And that would be an ego-based thing, I think. So you find out that you're part of the divine synchronicity when you go in. And when you find that out and you suddenly start connecting with people, don't cut off the source. Keep going. Even if it's a little uncomfortable, keep going past that. And you realize that you must. I learned this. I'll speak for me. I realized that I must quiet down the stories, shut down my own stories, so that Holy Spirit can talk through me, can speak or act on someone else's behalf. The only reason we do this work is to benefit others. What other reason would there be to be here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Benefit mankind. And so you shut that off.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people who I guess you would say are narcissists and ego driven, and to be honest, I avoid those people. I don't really feel there's any way they can be helped in a lot of ways. So, I don't know if there is a way to help those people, but I tend to sort of move on and avoid anyone I come across that's in that sort of ego-driven sort of behavior. You can see it online all the time on Facebook where people are very ego-driven, and I tend to just avoid those people. That's my outlook on it anyway. I know other people probably look at it a bit differently, but that's the way I look at it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how many lessons do we have to be put in front of us of people who tried something and failed and tried something and failed? The reason they failed was because what they were trying was the hard way, doing it the hard way. I've been told that I do some things the hard way. Maybe so. Maybe that. I have a couple of divine friends. Taj, this last couple of years, I started taking my walk very, very seriously into more ethereal realms, less hard convictions now. You make those convictions and you go forward, right? So you start choosing your company, choosing the format of how you're going to experience your life, choosing what's most important to you on a daily, all day actually, all day. You allow yourself to change your plans if something comes up that isn't going to benefit. Be willing to say, no, not now, I'll postpone with you or something, right?
Yeah.
Be willing to step out of the way, give things time. Definitely go into your realm, go into your meditation space. And I say meditation because you really get to go down with your third eye, and you really go down into your divine center, and you really can get messages from it. It's so beautiful if you're not in fear. And in the Word, we're told that perfect love casts out fear. And so our goal should be to be in perfect love. And perfect love doesn't have an ego problem, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Why do you think we're here? Are we here to learn? Are we here to ascend? Are we here just for the experience? Why do you think we're here?
Oh, gosh.
For everyone, or are we all here for the same reason?
That's a very good question, isn't it? That's a good question. I think that requires a personal answer, very personal answer. Now, my personal answer to that, since you're interviewing me, is, and I'm in Robin's realm at this moment, surrounded by delights in the spirit and the mind and the heart. I think we're here to wake each other up to love. I think we're here to also teach the heart lesson. One of them is guard and protect yourself. As you go into places like you had just said something really wise. I don't hang around with people like that. You can't hang around people. If you catch a glimpse of someone's vibe, or you know them by their fruits. I said this to Sarah in one of her discussions. I said, you'll know them by their fruits. It's in the Bible. People bear fruit, and they're like trees, fruit trees, and they bear fruit by their behaviors, by their languages, by what they do in this world. And it even says in Revelation, in the Revelation, you will be judged by what you think and what you do, what you say and what you do as well. These things matter. You're building a realm. You're building your environment. You're meeting and greeting people. If someone doesn't suit you because they're carrying a hard energy, and you know it's malevolent, I look them in the eye generally. I look them right in the eye because I know where they're coming from. And I've dealt with enough to not be in that much fear of it. I know what it is, and I know why they're around. But I look at them, I go, bye. And I will say, man, I'll catch you later. And I turn around and walk the hell away. And as I'm walking away, I throw my hands behind me to protect my back. Okay? When I walk forward to the light, I put my hands in front of me in a clasp and a gratitude pose. When I'm receiving light, very often I'll put my hands above my head in the palms in the receiving gestures. This is what we should do with our beautiful, beautiful vessels, is to be able to protect yourself and also receive the light. So get the heck away from things like that. They're going to be around you. They have to have a place to go. And they often go into family members or friends that are not enlightened or choose not to be, that have hard energy. If you come around someone with hard energy and you're working on your love, light, and healing, step off. You don't need that energy. There's so many people that your angels will bring to your space that will synchronize with where you're going, will encourage you, will love you through this hard experience of having dealt with someone who's negative and hard. Sensitive empaths, please, kids, understand. All you indigos, understand. You must protect yourself with crystals. You must protect yourself with mantras. You must be alert. Be lovely. Be that blue light that clears away the path ahead of you and restores behind you. Clears and restores, uplifts, builds our community. And but remember to protect the temple, because the walls of Jericho have already fallen, with some of us. So you can't we can't translate the same information like it used to be. Because when you're going through something, you know it. You need love. We need love, hon. We're here for love. We're here to raise a love vibration that's so powerful that people feel safe. They feel safe at night, safe where they are. They know that there's love in this universe, in this realm, and we are carrying this love. I think it's in our DNA too. I mean, we've had some DNA adjustments go on, and because of those who do such things. I wanted to tell you this about the DNA thing as well. I was reading Bringers of the Dawn, the Pleiadians, and I had a lot of great awakenings from reading from them. But that was just the beginning. I'm really from Arcturian background, the intellectuals, the Arcturians, archangels, Arcturians. Get it? There's a connection.
Yeah.
So I'm from that area, realm. And one thing I learned from them was if you turn your body, you can rewire your DNA by turning your body 33 times a day. And if you turn circularly 33, like in an office chair, right? I started at work in a dense job that was stressful. I started turning 33 times. And
Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.